Couldn't sleep last night, which hardly ever happens. It's only happened a few times in my life, and it's because my mind is active. I'm thinking about something, and it's normally about in the past something going on in radio. Now, in this case, thinking about what I'm going to talk about in my next podcast. And why did this happen? So I bumped into that Zionist right-wing podcaster, Steve Marks. You know Steve. He's been on, I've had him as a guest. He's got his own podcast, The Daily Schmo. And Steve and I were discussing we're going to do a show together, but it's going to be like a follow-on, a sequel of my reaction to South African Chief Rabbi Warren Goldstein's YouTube video. And the idea is that Steve will have alternative views, opposite thinking to me, and we'll have a discussion, possibly an argument, maybe even a fight. Could get ugly, could get aggressive. I don't know. So the understanding was that Steve was going to do his own podcast first, do his own thing that I did in my previous episode, give his Zionist right-wing viewpoint, and then we'll get together afterwards. And but before I start, I'll be thinking to myself, like, what is a Zionist? And the word Zionist to other people has become an insult. It's become an ugly word. And really, well, what is a Zionist? And yes, I should have done a bit of research. I should have looked at the actual definition. I just think it's somebody who believes in Israel, believes that that Israel is the Jewish state. And therefore, I'm a Zionist. I'm a Zionist. I'm happy that Israel is there and Israel is a Jewish state. But here's where the difference comes. Absolutely. And this is, in hindsight, this is 70, if we had a time machine, go back 75, 76 years. And again, I'm being idealistic, naive, but, this is all theoretical. They could have designed a Jewish state that included the previous people, the Palestinians that were living in Israel. They didn't necessarily have to be displaced. Or maybe they could have just been moved to the side. Excuse me. Yes, Omar, get out of your house, but we'll compensate you. Yes, you can't live in this house anymore. Yes, I know your family's been living here for God knows how long. Just give me your house. We'll compensate. We'll move you a little bit to the side. That could have been. I don't see why that couldn't have been an option. I don't see why it could have worked. And I know this is even going more insane with fantasies. Maybe it's not too late. I'm watching CNN, I'm watching Al Jazeera, a little bit of BBC, a little bit. CNN, none of these news channels are perfect. I'm not going to say they're perfect. But they're carrying on. They're talking about the way to solve this current situation in the Gaza Strip is the two-state solution. But I've been hearing about the two-state solution since Monica Yoren, since I was a child that could comprehend language. So the two-state solution is a discussion, but it's not a discussion that's relevant to the current situation. Like, they're trying to kill Hamas, trying to get rid of Hamas, at the same time killing lots of Palestinians living in Gaza. That is an immediate military, humanitarian crisis, for want of... Well, yeah, it's a crisis. I mean, not only are there 26,000 Palestinians in Gaza have been killed, mostly women and children, so they say, but 524 Israeli soldiers, the last time I looked, 524 Israeli soldiers have died. That's also very upsetting. It's tragic. What a waste. What a waste. Can I tell you a little secret? I'm a complete hypocrite. I'm going to be honest now. this is the thing. When somebody dies, you hear somebody dies, or you read a story, somebody was in a car accident, are they Jewish? Were they Jewish? As a Jew, when I hear a Jew has died, it hits me harder than if a non-Jew. I know it's terrible. I know it's wrong. But it's the truth. It's almost the same as when I hear a very attractive woman has died. It's almost the same. If something happened to who? Charlize Theron, Margot Robbie, God forbid. Something happened to them later, I would be more devastated. I don't want to be nasty, so I won't come up with an example, but if someone older and more haggard passed on, I'm sorry. So when I hear 524 Israeli soldiers have been killed, these are not just these are young people between the age of 18 and 25. Yes, I think there was some 40-year-old, because that terrible incident the other day where I think 40 Israeli soldiers, there was a 40-year-old because they were reservists. And that takes me to one of the things that Chief Rabbi Warren Goldstein was pointed out in his YouTube video. One of the themes that he emphasized quite strongly was we have the strong Israeli Defense Force that's there to protect the Jewish people. But the thing is, man, I wish that was true. This October the 7th thing should never ever have happened. If the Israeli Defense Force and Mossad, Israeli intelligence, if they were so good, I'm sorry, October the 7th would never have happened. Those paragliders, boom, would have been blown out the sky. So let's not be all gung-ho, all Hollywood fantasy. It's not realistic. The fact is, they weren't so good. So, and then, I know this is going slightly onto another topic, but Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says we're going to investigate what went wrong on October the 7th in terms of there was a failure in our security, but we're not going to do the investigation now. We're going to do the investigation after this is all over. What? First of all, whoever's involved in this investigation, they're not also involved necessarily in the war in Gaza. Or should I say the massacre in Gaza? There's no reason why the investigation can't happen now. And when is it going to be over? Benjamin, Bibi, come here, come. Let me tell you. When's it going to be over? I said this in the last episode. How do you know when you've defeated Hamas? How do you know when there's no more? You don't know. How? It's not. This is not a normal war. Hamas is not a normal army with uniforms, and they have headquarters, and Hamas is an entity. It's a I was going to say philosophy, but that makes it sound too intelligent. Philosophy. It's a belief system. It's a struggle. It's an ideal. It's a movement. There's no particular uniform. I ask you with tears in my eyes, how do you know when you've defeated Hamas? How will you know? Huh? I'm not the most intelligent person. I'm not highly educated. Why do I know these things? But the Prime Minister of Israel doesn't know it. Our chief rabbi doesn't know either. What? It's, you know what? Silver lining to all this whole story. Silver lining. It's like, if you don't have a great education, it's not the. You've got something. You've still got some. There's hope. That's the thinking. And I know my other thing I wanted to point out. Rabbi Goldstein also said, at the time, at this very moment, Israeli Defense Force soldiers are knocking on doors. Now, perhaps it was a figure of speech, so maybe I'm being unfair. Knocking on doors is a figure of speech. But if I had to take that literally, who's got a door? What doors are there in Gaza? You'll be lucky. You don't have a door. Nobody's got a door in Gaza that you can. All the homes have been destroyed. Everything's been destroyed, unless the wool has been pulled over my eyes, and all these news outlets, Al Jazeera, CNN, BBC, they're only showing the rubble. They're only showing the rubble. There's neighborhoods of Gaza where Muhammad is sitting by the pool. He's got a door. He's got a house, little fountain. House is intact. There he is. He hasn't got the satellite dish, because nowadays, you've got apps. Are there intact apartment buildings and houses left in Gaza? Are there? I mean, nobody. Muhammad, you got a door? Wow, I don't have a door. I lost my door a long time ago. Hey, man. Nah, it's just crazy. And there is the biggest. I only thought about this last night, and I admit, a friend of mine gave me the idea. He gave me the idea, but I'm going to use it because it's brilliant. Well, brilliant's too strong a word. You be the judge. I'm building expectation now, which is wrong. You shouldn't build expectation, because I might disappoint you, but here it is. You may very well know one of the most commonly known or notorious anti-Semitic trope is that Jews are in charge of the banks. Jews are in charge of finance. They run the economy. It's a whole big conspiracy. In fact, I think it's one of the shocking, horrendous tropes that Hitler used in the late 30s, 40s, 45, until he killed his dog, then he killed his wife, he killed himself in the bunker. Almost lost my train of thought. You saw that, eh? But no. So when Rabbi Warren Goldstein mentioned this alleged conspiracy that Hamas are using certain banks as a platform to finance their operations, namely it was First National, ABSA, and Standard, then Rabbi Goldstein says, I have spoken to these CEOs. I have emailed them. And I've asked them, or demanded or requested them to explain, to justify whether these allegations are true or not. And I've invited them to come to me and have a meeting. So it wasn't just send an email, you got to have a meeting. So don't you think that's, I know it's unintentional. I know it's unintentional, but it's kind of positively reinforcing this terrible anti-Semitic trope that how can this chief rabbi of South Africa, have the temerity, I don't have to use the word temerity, but just have the chutzpah to order these CEO banks. Oh, because he's king of the Jews. He's in charge of the Jewish community. He can order the banks. You see where I'm getting at? Woo, the irony. What a blunder. What a faux pas. Whew. I know, completely unintentional, and I don't know if the chief rabbi realizes what he did. Possibly I'm the only one who's pointing this out. But quite rightfully speaking, somebody's got to take him aside. I don't know. Yes, Zev, what do you want? Oh, Rabbi Goldstein, can we have a meeting? Okay, corner cafe. Or maybe they just talk on the phone, or they have a Zoom, who knows? Listen, Warren, can I call you Warren? Oh, that's okay. Warren, enough with the YouTube videos. I don't think it's the thing to do. I think it's the place for the South African Jewish Board of Deputies. The South African Jewish Board of Deputies, we're the lobby group for the Jewish community. We deal with the political. We have a relationship with the presidency. We have a relationship with the intelligence structures of government. We got this communication. maybe leave these serious political matters to us. You're the religious leader. You're the spiritual leader. Yes, but you got to understand. I can phone President Ramaphosa. I got a direct line. I'm well known. I did the Shabbos project. I'm well known. I'm leaving a legacy. I'm a well known person. Yes, but it doesn't look so good. Look, that conversation's never going to happen. Another scenario. I was lying in bed last night and I had a ridiculous fantasy, but sure. It's nice. Call me. I can be Rabbi Goldstein's consultant. Call me in. I can consult, man. Yeah, Rabbi, strong video, strong script. I like it. Your presentation is actually very good. I like the glass of water on the side. Nice. But let's just, I don't know, leave out certain things. But you know what? Then I realized, I'm being silly. It'll never happen. I mean, I was called in as a consultant for the Jewish community radio station Chai FM back in 2008. Before it started, this lady who started the station, she wanted me to help her to start the station. She never listened to one word I said. Not one word. Not one. What am I doing here? Same thing with the Rabbi Goldstein wouldn't listen to me. He wouldn't listen to me. In fact, in the end, he'll want to strangle me with these tefillin straps. The thing on the head and the leather straps. He wouldn't have done it. And then I had these images. I get these funny ideas. I can't help it. I'm creative. He could be waterboarding me with his talus bag. It's a bag, and he's waterboarding because he's unhappy with me as a consultant. But you know what? We can dream. We can dream. Another point before I forget, and this is not just Rabbi Goldstein. I think this is a universal, what do I say, flaw that people have. I don't agree with this putting Western powers, Western countries on a pedestal and talking about other countries are despotic and they're dictatorships. Yes, that is, but when there's a situation, when a country gives an opinion or it votes at the UN or whatever, doesn't mean, just because they might be a despotic country, might be a dictatorship. Now, this might sound crazy, but just think about it. Doesn't mean what they're saying about something else that's got nothing to do with their country, doesn't mean they're wrong. Like, for example, you can be having a discussion or about something with a friend, or in this podcast, I could be biased in a certain way, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong. It could just be a coincidence, a lucky coincidence, that my bias just happens to be correct. So, when we talk about, the International Court of Justice is rubbish, it's got no credibility because it's chaired or its membership is mainly these banana republics, so to speak, despotic dictatorship countries. To me, that's a distraction from the issues. It's a distraction. Because it's not dealing, it's playing the man and not the ball. It's not dealing with the issue. It's just bad-mouthing whoever. Yes, certain countries do have a chutzpah. And to a degree, South Africa's got a chutzpah to get involved because look, we're not perfect. We got lots of issues. We've got terrible unemployment, terrible corruption, energy crisis, you name it. Infrastructure issues, potholes, you name it. But that doesn't mean we're wrong. Am I making sense? I don't know if I'm making sense. To me, I'm making sense. Maybe I'm deluded. You decide. I don't think I'm deluded. But all deluded people don't know they're deluded. Okay. Now here's the other side of the coin. I don't believe in this, or like this belief that Western countries are this beacon of democracy, hope, and goodness. And they do. I'm sorry. No country is perfect. You look at a country that you think that on the surface you think is wonderful. That I will listen to that president or that country because that's a good country. I don't believe in that. I think it's Bobbesmeisters. I think it's nonsense. Take America for example. America is sliding backwards. America is going backwards. It's becoming in America that you won't be able to have an abortion one of these days if America carries on the way it is. You will not be able to get an abortion in America. And it's just a matter of time before gay rights are taken away, the way where America is heading. I heard recently, it happened about 3 or 4 months ago, former President Donald Trump, he was giving a speech, can't remember the exact context, but one of the things he said was straight out of the Adolf Hitler notebook or script. Donald Trump said something along the lines of, when I become president, when I win this election, or if I win this election, if I become the next president of America, I will get rid of the vermin. That is exactly what Adolf Hitler, the Jews were called vermin. Donald Trump is using that language. Yet Donald Trump is still way ahead in the polls to win the Republican nomination. Don't get me wrong. Donald Trump is not an Adolf Hitler. He's not going to be a Hitler. But that kind of rhetoric should automatically alienate the hell out of him. Nobody should go near him. But he's very popular. Very popular among the Republican voters. Sure, this year is a big year. This year is a big year. What is going to happen in America? Sure. There was another point I was going to make. Let me see if I can find it. No, I won't find it. I'll have to bring it up on the next show. What I wanted to bring up, and maybe it's making this podcast too long, but I want to get it off my chest. And this is difficult to articulate, so I'm probably going to mess it up. So bear with me. Why do I do a podcast? Why do other people do a podcast? If you're Trevor Noah, Conan O'Brien, etc., yes, that's obvious. You're famous, you're a well-established entertainer. This is a wonderful opportunity to make serious money. But a nobody like me, just doing a pod, I've got 35 listeners, 96 subscribers. Yes, 96 subscribers, but so they get a notification every time I publish a podcast. But you don't care. You don't care. When you get the notification, you don't care. You don't look. You don't listen. You don't go to my podcast, to my YouTube video. And I'm the same. I subscribe to one YouTube video. Cliff Central, Gareth Cliff Show, but I don't ever watch it. And nothing, not because I don't. I got to admit this. I'm a complete hypocrite. I have a podcast, video, whatever. I don't watch podcasts. I just don't. I don't have the chesach. It's a big commitment. So when I see 35 or 20 people have viewed my podcast, I'm telling you now, the nachas, it's just, I'm overjoyed. I'm overjoyed. Because I know what it takes. I'm overjoyed. It's to think that you want to watch my video is something else. But then I made the mistake of looking at, there's analytics on YouTube. You can look at the analytics. Oy vey. Just a cursory glance at various. The average viewership into my podcast is 4 minutes and 7 minutes. So, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So to answer the question, why do I do a podcast? And in a way, maybe I got this in common with Rabbi Warren Goldstein. Maybe it's a form of maybe I'm a narcissist to a degree. I don't think I'm a full-on narcissist. Maybe I have narcissistic tendencies. Or is it arrogance? Who am I? What a chutzpah to think that what I have to say is important for you to listen to or to view. Who do I think I am? It's like the height of narcissism. This is like a wank. And it's unhealthy? Is it healthy or unhealthy? What I just described now, maybe it's not healthy. But on the other hand, it's very beneficial for me. This is my therapy. This makes me feel good. This makes me, it's almost a reason, this gives me a reason to live. It better yet, it gives my life meaning. Isn't that, it's pathetic. I know it's pathetic. Gives my life meaning. Crazy, hey? It's ridiculous. I mean, if I had to go, I would need to go into deep therapy. But therapists cost 900 Rand a shot, and the medical aid doesn't cover it. But why is this? It's growing up, the youngest of 6 children, maybe I didn't get my voice heard, maybe I didn't feel heard. Is there this? Howard Stern, the famous Howard Stern, talks about a deep black hole that needs to be filled. That's what he talks about as well. I mean, Howard Stern doesn't need the money. He can retire. He never needed the money 30 years ago. He could have retired. This is what it keeps him going. It's the same reason. This need to want to be heard. It's pathetic. But there you go. It's a way of. It's like, I'm important. Hello, listen to me. I'm important. I want to be remembered. I want to leave a legacy. So I drop dead tomorrow, heart attack. Hey, you got these YouTube videos. I've left something. And Rabbi Warren Goldstein, yes, it's his job. He obviously thinks it's his job to do these YouTube videos. But I'm sure to a degree he also is in that position. What's the word? You want to have an effect on the world. You want to have an influence. I think that's it. You want to have an influence. You want to think that you've changed something. You've done good. You've contributed to society. That's the way that's it. Like, I know people, and I've got 1 or 2 friends that are the complete opposite. They just go about their lives very, very quietly. Don't say a word to anybody. Yes, they're on Facebook. Never post anything on Facebook. Never, ever post anything on Facebook. I don't even know if they look at Facebook. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I know they've got strong opinions because we will chat over dinner. But they're not talking, doing this. So why am I doing this? How about that? Yeah. Sure. I want to leave you with this quick little, I know this podcast has gone on too long, but this is my therapy. I picked up my niece yesterday. She's now my foster daughter. I call her my daughter. If I meet somebody or bump into somebody and I'm with her, I say, this is my daughter. I like it. It makes her feel good. It makes me feel good. And yeah. So she's 16. In fact, she's turning 17 tomorrow. So she's got 4 friends. Then they got a WhatsApp group together. So 2 of the friends, let's just call them A and B. They're having breakfast together at school. I never did this. They come to school, they're at school at 7:30, they have breakfast together. So subject A gets a mince pie or a pie from the Caltex. Person B she's got her muesli with milk. So the one the B who's having the muesli with milk, she says to A, don't finish that mince pie. In other words, I'm saying to you, leave me some pie. So person A with the pie got all offended. It turned into a fight. They started sulking, turned into a sulking match. So much so that the one with the muesli and the milk, she's left the WhatsApp group. I mean, I was once 16. I was 16 at one time, believe it or not. I can't imagine ever having a fight or an argument over something like that. Never. Never. And then I thought to myself, like, let me think of other people that I grew up with. Maybe I was different. Maybe, okay, I'm different. So let me try and look at the norm when I was growing up. And then I thought about it, and it took me back. It took me back to 1993. Picture it, 1993. I'm studying chiropractic, and in the first 2 years, the chiropractic students are also with the homeopath students. And there's about 100 students. About 100, I think. Chris Hani has just been assassinated. I think he was assassinated, murdered on a Sunday. I was devastated. I was so upset. Not just for the future of South Africa, the negotiations, the political situation. I felt terrible for the family. I still feel terrible for the family. I'm sitting in class and the lecture hadn't started. All the kids are standing around, chatting. Not a care in the world. I can tell you now, not one of those students, these were people 18, 19, 20 years old. Not one. Chris Hani was not crossing their mind. Not a thought in the world. I was the only person there that was thinking about Chris Hani. So maybe that's how young people are. They just don't care about the important stuff. You know, if I was with my milk and the muesli and the mince pie in that scenario, having breakfast with my friend, I would just think, you know what, I'm so grateful to be here. I'm not in the Ukraine. I'm not in Yemen. I'm not in Alexandria, or the bad part of Alexandria. The bad part of any township, poor situation in South Africa. I'm not in Gaza. So let's get some perspective. But no, the kids, they don't think like that. So I leave you on that note. I'll leave you there, and yes, maybe things to think about. Yeah.